The most striking truth about the certainty trap is that the human brain is biologically biased to prioritize the confidence of a message over its accuracy. We generally assume that the person with the most facts and the best evidence will win the argument, but in high-pressure dynamics, absolute certainty is often used to make the truth irrelevant. Why does a person who is objectively wrong often seem more right than the person with the actual data? This is the core paradox of the certainty trap. The moment someone's lack of doubt is used to dismantle your own trust in what you know. So today, we're going to tear this whole thing down. We'll get into how someone just sounding sure of themselves can be mistaken for being smart, and, how our own tendency to be thoughtful can actually be used against us. And this right here, this is really the heart of it. You see, it's not just about someone being loud or, cocky. It goes way deeper than that. We're talking about how our brains are actually wired. Think about it. Our brains are built for survival, for making snap judgments. And one of the biggest shortcuts they take, assuming that if someone sounds confident, they must know what they're talking about. So a message that's delivered with absolute rock-solid conviction, it just feels safer to our brain than a thoughtful, nuanced one, even when that nuanced one is the one that's actually right. So that leads us to this incredibly frustrating question, right? I mean, you know that feeling, don't you? You've got all the data, you've done your homework, but somehow you're losing the argument to someone who's got nothing but pure, unfiltered confidence. We're going to break down exactly how this happens, how feelings can totally steamroll facts, and how someone else's certainty can be used as a weapon to make you doubt yourself, even when you know you're right. And this just lays it out perfectly. See, most of us walk into a conversation thinking we're playing the game on the left, what's called dialectical inquiry. Basically, we think we're all on the same team, trying to figure out the truth together. But the trap gets sprung when the other person is playing a totally different game, the one on the right, declarative dominance. For them, it's not about finding the truth, it's about making their version of reality the truth, just by saying it with enough force that you don't even think to question it. And that is how you end up with all the facts on your side, but still feeling like you're the one who's wrong. All right, so here's the game plan. We're going to start with the paradox, then dive into the certainty vacuum it creates. After that, we'll map out the 4-step pattern that's used, look at the brain science that makes us fall for it, and then, the good part, we'll talk about how to reclaim your reality and see why nuance is actually your superpower. All right, let's jump into our first section, the confidence paradox. This is all about how absolute certainty can be turned into a weapon. Okay, so at the very center of all this is something called the confidence heuristic. Now, heuristic is just a sciencey word for a mental shortcut, right? And this shortcut is basically our brain's lazy way of saving energy. It just assumes, hey, that person sounds really confident, so they must be right. It's a quick and dirty rule that, well, it's often wrong. You see this all the time, and honestly, it's exactly why someone who's just really good at sounding sure of themselves can seem way more believable than an actual expert who's carefully weighing the option. So that leads us right into our next idea, the certainty vacuum. This is all about how doubt is actually manufactured. So when you're caught in this trap, people tend to experience these 3 things happening inside their own head. First, there's the certainty vacuum itself. It's that instant gut punch feeling of, oh wow, maybe I'm the one who's wrong. And it comes from nothing more than the other person's sheer confidence. Next comes what we call intellectual shrinking. This is where your own thoughtfulness, weighing the pros and cons, suddenly starts to feel like a weakness. You start thinking you're just confused. And if that goes on long enough, you get to the self-silencing effect. Honestly, it just becomes easier, less stressful to just agree. Your brain actually starts to ignore things that don't add up, just to avoid the fight. And here's the takeaway. In these situations, certainty has nothing to do with being smart or knowing more. It's not about shining a light on the truth. It's a trap. It's a rhetorical cage built around your own thoughts, designed to box you in, to limit what you see as possible, until the only path that feels safe is to just agree with them. Okay, so how does someone build this cage? Well, it's not random at all. There's a very clear 4-step cycle of control. And this 4-step process is, frankly, brilliant in how effective it is. Here's how it works. Step 1 is the declarative launch. An opinion, like this is obviously the only way forward, is just stated like it's a law of physics. No debate allowed. Now, if you push back, if you even just ask a question, you hit step 2, questioning the questioner. All of a sudden, it's not about the facts anymore. It's about you. Your reasonable question gets twisted into you being difficult. This brings on step 3, decision fatigue. Let's be real. It is exhausting to argue for complexity against a brick wall of simple certainty. Your brain gets tired and just wants it to be over.
Giving in feels like relief. And that leads to the final step, affective convergence. To make the pressure stop, you actually start to sound as certain as they do. Not because they've convinced you, but because it's a survival tactic.
So why is this so powerful? I mean, why does this work on smart people? Well, it's because it hacks our own biology.
It really comes down to these two psychological drivers. On one side, you have the controller. Their goal is simple: control through simplification. If they can get rid of all the messy details and just present a black and white option, they're in the driver's seat. And on our side, our vulnerability is something called the need for closure. Our brains just hate uncertainty. We crave a clear plan, a simple answer, so much that sometimes we'll pick the wrong simple answer over the right complicated one just to make the confusion stop.
And this plays right into our brain's love of cognitive ease. It's a basic principle. Our brains are lazy. They'd much rather process simple information than complex information. So a statement like, "this is the only answer," is super easy for our brain to handle. But a statement like, "well, it's complicated," that takes real work. The certainty trap works because it makes the simple, wrong answer feel good, while the complex, right answer feels like a chore. Okay, so now that we know how the trap is built, let's talk about how to get out of it. And listen, this isn't about winning the fight. It's about building up your own defenses. There are really two key steps to what you might call analytical sovereignty. Basically, taking back control of your own thought process. First is the evidence audit. You have to train yourself to ask in the moment, wait a second, am I getting actual facts here or just a loud opinion? Just asking that question creates a little bit of distance. The second step is nuance preservation. This is huge. It means you can hear someone use words like always, never, or obviously, and you just observe it. You don't feel this need to jump in and correct them. You just recognize their language for what it is, a tactic.
And this right here is the big mental flip you have to make. You have to get comfortable with the idea that being right doesn't mean you have to be 100% certain. Your ability to think things through, to see the gray areas, that's not a weakness. It's a sign that you're actually paying attention to how complex the world really is. And once you believe that, the whole cycle just falls apart.
Which brings us to our final and most important point, the power of nuance. This is your greatest strength in a world that loves absolutes. Here it is, plain and simple. Confidence is a style. It is not a fact, it's a performance. It's a delivery method. And once you can separate the style of how something is said from the substance of what is being said, the trap loses all its power. You can see someone being confident and think, wow, great delivery, without letting it hijack your own growth. And this is what I really want you to take away from all this. Do not ever let someone else's inability to handle complexity make you question your own mind. Seriously, the person who is the most certain is often the one who is most terrified of the messy, complicated truth. Your doubt isn't a flaw. It's not confusion. It's a feature. It's your brain doing its job, telling you to look closer and stay connected to what's real. So I'll leave you with this question to think about, because at the end of the day, your mind is your own. And knowing these patterns exist is the best way to make sure you're the only one with the keys. Protecting your right to see the nuance, to see the complexity, well, that's how you stay in charge of your own reality.